Thank you, Natasha. The mic is on. Works. Very good. Starting where Natasha started, also in the end. Exit is what you guys need to think about. Have a target. What do you want to achieve with your startup? Do you want to sell it to big pharma? Do you want to sell it to medtech? Do you want to reach the healthcare system? Have that in your mind when you start your project. Okay, my name is Christian Krog-Jensen. I work at Almi Invest as an investment manager. And I've done that only for 1.5 years. Before that, I was responsible for the incubator at KI and business incubate for 14 years. And I've been the co-founder of a few biotech companies in Denmark and in Sweden. So I've tried to be on the other side of the table, being a researcher, raising money, crashing the company, starting the company over again, new idea, new team, and it's an exciting journey. Today I will tell you a little bit about Almi Invest and what we do. Let's see. And touch upon some of the aspects of raising money from a VC, as well as our selection process. And it's not very different from other startup financiers. Early investors do look at very similar things. And then back to the end, the exit. Everyone does not end up as AstraZeneca, building organically bigger and bigger and bigger. That's not the normal route today. So Almi Invest, I see a small screen here. How many companies and how many startups have we worked with? Right now, 350 companies in our portfolio. We have about 45 investment managers in Sweden that manages all of this, that do the investment, do the selection, and then work with the companies. We have 8 regions in Sweden that we work with, and 1 national fund. So every region is an own fund. So Stockholm, Uppsala, Linköping, you have Lund, Malmö, Gothenburg, etc. in separate investment areas. We have 3.5 billion Swedish krona under management, so it's a significant amount of money. We invest somewhere between 1 to 10 million in startup companies. And normally we start out with, it could be 1 million, 2.5 million, but we like to have money left in our portfolio for a follow-up investment later on. And you can say, we come back to that later, we do not invest solely. We are a complementary investor, so we complement the private investment market. We are financed by the state. But we work in the same, we select companies with the same criteria as every private investor. So what kind of companies do I have in my portfolio at Stockholm? This is some of them. Various activities, some are on the way. It's really early startups growing, and some are on the way out of our portfolio. And okay, Sigrid Therapeutics is not really a pharmaceutical, it's more a medtech registration on that company. But this is some examples. And then we have Pharmability, T-Regs, and the Nobel Prize in Chemistry, Medicine last year. We have MediTuner, working on asthma management. It's a combination of using an existing prescription with a digital platform to manage your asthma. It really works really good with children. There are companies like Neosense, Developeration, and Developeration works with various surgical issues in the butt. Resitu, breast cancer device. I will not go through all of them, but really interesting companies. I could go down to R&D tools like Epigenica, Voxel Bio, and Cubase. If you think about the Cartana deal a couple of years back, these are companies that spins out of the same kind of entrepreneurs, same kind of visualization of cell functions. And this is high risk, really high science. We can take the risk in investing in this if we believe in it together with others. Very many private investors do not do it at this early stage. That's the possibility for us to do. Molecular attraction I can mention as well. That's a bit funny. They end up in between pharma and food. They work with pheromones or pheromone-like substances to cheat mosquitoes to think they're going to breed, but will not be able to breed due to this substance. So it lessens the mosquito load, meaning hindering spread of malaria and dengue fever. Really effective method. Starts to work, and now it's established in Bangladesh and on some private tourist centers. It's growing nice and slow. Okay. Does venture capital fit all startups? Where do we see interest in our role? It's mainly in high risk startups. We work both with life science that I do, but we work also in other technical areas, every tech area where it's development risk early. We tend to buy an ownership in a startup company at some price, the X here, and we keep it 5-7 years, and then we want to sell it for a multiple. We want to earn money on the case, of course. Otherwise, it's a really bad investment for us. If it's 10 times the money, it's very good. But how do you pick the winners? Really a lot of people try to pick the winners. There are so many investment groups that try to have algorithms and try to think about how do I pick the best companies to invest in. That's very, very difficult. There are so many factors. So 1 to 2 winners pays for 10 that fails, kind of. So it needs to be an upside for us to invest and for the company. It's generally a high risk, high reward. If you take a look on the pharma business, for example, very few drug products reach market. Lots of costs, high prices in the end. You see the business deals that are in the billion class for a good new pharmaceutical, a new modality in a new area. And for me to get interested, besides high reward, it has to be a wow factor. I have to be, when I hear about this project, I need to be fascinated. This is something new. This is really changes things. Impact, you could call it as well. When is it a good fit then? Large market, a global market. We do not invest in local markets for pharma companies or pharma industry, life science in general. It's too expensive to develop a product for a Swedish market in our business. But if you don't work with life science, a Swedish market could be good enough for smaller, cheaper product. So we have other projects that could be for a Swedish or European markets, but not in life science. The ambition has to be high, grow fast. I mean, if you come up with an idea, you will probably not be alone in the world because it inspires globally from publications what's going into development. So there will always be competition there. So you need to grow fast if you're going to be first to hit the market. Being number 2 is not very attractive in many cases, if you're not very much better. There's another type of financing also, and that could be if you have sales early. You can calculate return on your investment based on the sales. Let's say it's the value of the company is valued 5 times or 7 times the sales value. That does not usually happen in life science early. You don't have sales very early. You're in the research stage. You're developing an assay, a kit, a new pharmaceutical, but you still need the money and you have no sales to calculate your value of your company of. The other side of that one is, of course, if you develop a device, a simple device, you can start selling, then the value is often based on the sales. This is not the case for you guys. So here you need money for the fast expansion of your ID and develop products. And you know what it costs with regulatory, and it costs with patents, and it costs you to develop something from research to a regulated product. It's basically that one. So there is a route. Everyone in the VC business have kind of expressions. We are on pre-seed stage, you are in seed stage, we are in early stage, you are in Series A, Series B, C, etc. And in the end, in exit. Let's see how this ends. And there are certain amounts and values connected to these different stages. And that will vary between different investors. This is the way we see it at the moment. We call a pre-seed round. It's not much money. It's your keyhole, just a view on the technology, help the first steps. And that is, of course, for a company that is not so much value in already. Then we go into the seed stage. That's our typical investment area, 1 to 10 million. And that will, of course, mean some dilution for the owners. You have to accept dilution, otherwise you will not get investments. And here you talk 20 to 30% dilution. But if you think about it in the way of having 5% of 100 millions or 100% of 0 kronor in value, that's what you are working with here. And this goes on all the way. So you don't want to take in too much money too early. You want to do it stepwise. So you build value in the company, take in a little bit of money, raise the value of the company, take in a little bit more money, raise the value of the company. And that's why this is staged in this way. So we take a look on our investments. In Sweden in general, we averagely invest about 5 to 7% of the applicants to us. If you take a look in Stockholm, the ballpark 2%. And this is, of course, because we have several universities here. We have a lot of investors downtown that can co-invest and also invest and compete with us in a sense. But I would say it's more complementary. So it's tougher to get investments in the Stockholm area, clearly, for us. Something I think about, and that we learned quite a lot at KI, at the incubator when I was running that one, is it's impossible to pick the winners. You absolutely have to make the winners. So it's not only the money that is important, it's really what I come to. And you come back to impact of the innovation, impact of the ID. You need to get a feeling this will really make a difference in society, for patients, and the economic side of that one is not a part of that equation at that time already. It really is it an important innovation? So, there is of course a process. We are process driven, and we are very careful with our investments. We want to attract good companies, startups. We work very early, so it's not established companies that are done on IPO or anything like that. It's really early, coming from a project, starting up a company, getting first maybe a keyhole investment from some incubator or business unit somewhere. And the next investments very often comes from us. But we spend quite a lot of time taking a look on the research, the IP, and that takes, it's a part of the selection process. It can take 3 months, 7 months. It could be that you come, you present your case, and we say, okay, very interesting, go home, do this, come back in 5 months, or half a year, or a year. So that process does happen quite often. It's very seldom the company comes to us with the first presentation and say, okay, we invest. That does normally not happen. Normally you are sent back, go home, come again, find other investors to join in. And then we say, okay, now we have done this science or this project, or you have proven that it actually works in vitro, in vivo, or whatever you've done. And you have some additional investors that say, okay, if Almi invests, this other investor will join in as well. Then we become much more interested. Then our investment time could be 2 to 7 years. It varies. And then we want to sell. And we have various ways of exit. I'll come back to the exit part. Because we need to exit at some point in time to get money back into the system so we can invest in the next round. Okay. So many of you probably work in early projects. And something to think about before building your case is this old classic, NABC. Need, approach, benefit, and competition. I still think about this one, even if it's 15 years ago I heard about this the first time. I still think about this. Is there a need in the market or need in the patients? What's my approach, also my solution to this problem? What's the benefit to the patients or the society? And what's the competition? That's things you need to have made a story around before you even try to build your business case. So this is really the basis. Because when you come to me or my colleagues, we have a lot of different things we will ask about, a lot of things we want to see. We will look on this advantage compared to the competition. Don't tell me there is no competition, because I don't believe that. There's always competition in some way. The competition could be something completely different. You have a drug in mind. The competition could be a medtech device, or even doing nothing. That's also competition. The hospital continue with an old treatment or no treatment because it's more valuable for the society. It has to be new, unique. We invest only in Swedish startups, but it would be the same if we went internationally. We want you to be able to take a position on the global market. IP opportunity, and IP is not only patents, I should say. We want to be able to protect the idea in some way. It could be a regulatory document, it could be a trade secret, it could be different supplier agreements that protect your ID, or it can actually be patents of various types of design protection. We take a look on the team, the competences in the team, experiences. Mixed teams is really good. We like mixed teams. We have a lot of focus on mixed teams, and that also female founders is something that we put quite a lot of focus on now, because the major part of startups today is still by male inventors and CEOs. So we try to focus on getting women to dare starting their own company. Scalable. Okay, you have a scientist doing fee for service in your lab, and you say, I can do this for someone else, and I can charge some money for that. That's not scalable normally. You need something that one scientist cannot not only service 10 customers, it should be able to service 100 customers, 1,000 customers. So it's easy scalable. Otherwise, you can't hire more and more people just to service someone. That's not really valuable. You need to be scalable. New market opportunities, we touched upon that, is something that we calculate on to see market potential. And milestones, feasibility. You like to be able to say, in 6 months you have reached a certain milestone, then you value inflection point, you increase the value of the company. And the next milestone increase your value of a company even more. So need to have clear milestones that you can measure, because that's how we measure your value increase. And the market, if you want to get more money. We also meet, as I touched upon before, some scientists that have an extreme amount of self-confidence in value of the startup, and take a look on the potential later on and say, this is maybe a 5 billion industry, but the risk is enormous. If you haven't invested anything in your idea, the risk is still enormous. So what we look upon is the risk. How small or how big is the chance that you get all the way to the market? And how much money is that going to cost? So coming to us with a very, very high valuation, or including too much research money in the valuation, that makes it non-investable because of the risk. So it has to be a balance where it's a win-win in this. That's the part. If we go in on too high valuations, then we can't sell it with any upside. That's how it works. We did an investigation a couple of years back, looked upon success factors. Because we've done so many investments, we have quite a good statistics on what succeeds and what does not succeed. And these are some key success factors. Team, strong industry experience helps. So if you don't have industry experience in your team, get it, or we can help you get it. But you need to bring in commercial or industry experience in the team. Young teams found with skin in the game, meaning several people in the team have ownership in the invention or in the startup. It's not so attractive for us if there comes one person, one inventor that owns 90%, and then there are some collaborators around, does not really have skin in the game. We want a team that is functional. That means everyone has a stake in it. Co-investors, yes. We have about 1,500 co-investors that we work with in our lists that we contact, and we also give these contacts and details to our startup companies. And they're good at different sciences, different technologies. So we want to have these kind of investors that have tried this business before in this certain area. If you want to work in diagnostics, you like to have someone that has this business contacts both for investment but also for the exit later on. Clear growth market, absolutely. If it's not a growth market, you will not make money in the end. That's definitely an important issue. But these are general. This is not only for life sciences, this is for all companies. This one point, the company with high uniqueness is more important in life science than in many other businesses due to the long runway. It usually takes a long time to develop a life science product, and it also takes quite a lot of money. Then the uniqueness is more important than being a Me Too product on one more execution sale, something that you can sell with high speed and fast to market. Generally, we can also see that products coming out are in tech or in life science, from research, deep tech, what's called usually, has a better pathway to market than low-tech products. So see how I'm on time. Still have some time. Okay, we touched upon this before. What builds value in a startup company? Revenue, RRR, that's really annual sales. That builds value. Growth in some way builds value. But more normal for us in life science are technology, IP, unique know-how, competence, strategic value to potential buyers. Because you don't reach the sales part, as we touched upon before. It's also valuable with IP, valuable with letter of intent from potential buyers. It could be healthcare system, it could be pharma companies, medtech companies that are interested. If you can show that you have an interest from these guys that is on black and white, then it builds value. So, if you come to us, this is what will happen. You will have a contact with someone at Almi Invest. You will have a chance to pitch your case. We will do an analysis for a period. And maybe you pitch again, as we touched upon before also. And then IK is Investments Committee in Swedish shortening. So I have to pitch the case to an investment committee. So you have to first commit to make me believe, or my colleagues believe in your case. And then we'll make an internal case and pitch it to the investment group that take the decisions in the end. Then we do a due diligence process. That means looking at everything you got. Data room where you have stored all the documentation for your assays, your patents, or whatever you need to convince and prove that what you claim actually is there. We also have a process for looking at money laundering, money washing, all kinds of illegal things going on nowadays. So we have a special department that goes through all the investors, all the founders, and take a look on the track record. Really important for us today. And then we make an agreement, and we do an investment together with others. When we've done the investment, we'll continue to work with you. We work on your structure, your documents. We will take a place in your board if you like. Sometimes we want it because there's no one else stronger than us. Or we'll be an advisor. We will work actively with the startups. We want you to succeed. We have experience from the financial transactions. We have all kinds of people in the company, many coming from the economic side, the financial side, more than me as a scientist. So they are really strong people on the financial side. And we will use our networks, both to find new co-investors to you guys, and find people to the team, and work on business advice. So, exits. What is exit? It's selling the company. It's a question of timing. It's also a question of already before selling that we as shareholders are aligned. We have the same picture on where this company is going to end. If someone in the shareholders group wants to sell it to do a trade deal, trade sale, and another one wants to build it organically to become the new AstraZeneca or Pharmacia, I mean, that's different pictures. We need to be aligned. Otherwise, it's difficult to get a good exit. We do and you should do a benchmark in the industry. Who is interested in this company at what value? What kind of players are out there? Make sure the company is sellable. That is actually having all documentation in place, good structure and order. And then we will help, of course. But there are also other experts and advisors that can help with the exit. In many cases, we've seen that trade sales are the simplest. That means trade sale in this means selling to a bigger player in the same market. 10 times Genomics bought Katana, for example, from us. That is the trade sale. Another exit is, of course, doing an IPO. It's also possible, normally, not now. It's totally closed for the moment. No one wants to invest in that kind of market for the moment. And we have a team, an exit portfolio team at us that will help with this process. Also, me as an investment manager will help, but we also have some people specialized in doing this. Last slide. There is a homepage where we have possibility to pitch your company, where you can add some information to get into the system, so you can come up on an agenda for us, because we don't know all of it. You can also mail the info@almiinvest.se. And then there is some people receiving this and will sort it to the right regional office, for example, if it's Uppsala or if it's Stockholm, they will see that. I usually don't take applications directly to me. I get a lot in my mailbox. The challenge is that it kind of disappears in the mailbox. So it's much more safe going through the system instead of mailing me directly. Angela knows this. It's hard sometimes to get answer on mails. But if there are other questions, discussions, just should I apply or just discuss ideas, I'm open for discussions. And thank you very much.